If you're tired of leaning in over the kitchen line and just giving your opponent dead dinks to speed up when you look to take balls out of the air, I'm going to show you a shot that allows you to create tons of offense while putting pressure on your opponents by leaning in. And this is going to be your Roll Dink Volley. If I'm looking to get the ball out of the air before it bounces to the kitchen, but it's not high enough to attack it, that's going to take time away from my opponent. So even though I'm hitting a dink, which is a more neutral defensive shot, I still am giving them a little bit less time to react. But in order for me to really get the most out of that shot, I still want to do something a little more offensive with it. Where if I just reach in over the line, stick my paddle out, and tap the ball, that's going to be a dead dink that's super easy for my opponent to speed up. So instead, I want to look to impart a little bit of topspin and a little bit more pace on that shot by using a roll. So instead of just sticking my paddle out and tapping it up, I can actually point my paddle a little more close towards my target and roll up the back of the ball in order to create some spin. This is going to allow me to hit the ball harder, it's going to allow me to hit the ball lower, and it's going to make the ball bounce out towards my opponent because it has topspin on it. So if I can use this shot in a 2 or 3 shot combo, once I get my opponents moving, it's going to give me a high likelihood of getting an attackable speed up on the next one. So all I'm looking to do here is just come right under the ball and then spin it up. And notice how much less time my opponent has to react when I'm grabbing these balls out of the air, and I can eventually push her back off the line and get that opportunity to create a little bit more offense. Now on the flip side, if I wasn't creating any topspin on those dinks with my roll, and I was just hitting a nice flat ball, then I might end up being the one pushed around because I'm not doing anything offensively. Even though I'm taking away her time, if I'm hitting a dead dink, it doesn't really do that much for me. She still has enough time to recover, get back in the position, and then my ball doesn't have any spin and it's just kind of sitting there, so she can then dictate the point. So notice here when I'm leaning in, now I'm not doing anything when I take the ball out of the air. So I'm the one that ends up getting pushed around side to side because I'm just hitting these dead dinks that are popping right up. And eventually, if she wanted to, she could hit a speed up because I'm just hitting everything super, super dead. When I'm hitting neutral dead dinks, that's not gonna really do anything for me except for make the point draw on longer and longer. I'm not constructing a point that I can then win. But then when I go to put some topspin on it, I'm gonna be the one that's dictating the rally, pulling my opponent out of center and doing something a little more offensive to set me and my partner up. And now that you know the benefits of this shot, here's how to hit it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is make sure I'm getting super low. I have to get under the ball, and that's non-negotiable. If I'm not under the ball, I'm not gonna get this shot over the net. So I'm gonna make sure that I bend down nice and low. I'm gonna come down with my knees first, and then I can lean in if I wanna get some extra reach. The one thing I wanna make sure I'm avoiding is using just my back to get low. I have no leverage here over the ball. I'm still reaching down. I'm gonna end up flicking and popping it up. So I gotta get down nice and low with my knees, and then I can lean in over the line. From here, I'm gonna make sure I'm keeping my arms straight, and that's a common theme here on our dinks and everything at the kitchen line. We can't really do too much with a bent arm. I'm gonna keep my arm straight. I'm gonna get as much reach as possible. Now from here, I'm gonna make sure my paddle face is open, because remember, I'm hitting from below the net, so I have to lift it. And I'm just gonna slowly roll under the ball, lifting my paddle up to the net. This is a slow, controlled, and relaxed swing. If I squeeze too tight and I swing too fast, I'm gonna just pop the ball up. And these are usually gonna be too low for a speed up, because if they were higher, I wouldn't be dinking it, I would just be speeding it up. I'm just gonna make sure I'm coming from low to high, rolling up the back of it with that straight arm, getting as much reach as possible. Notice how when I swing, I'm coming a little bit up back towards me. That's so I can get that extra topspin on it. It's gonna be very hard when I'm fully stretched out to go out towards my target without falling in. So once I make contact with that open paddle face, I'm just gonna come up and slightly back in order to get that topspin brush. And then finally, I'm gonna make sure I'm keeping my paddle face facing towards my target, because if I roll over the top too much, that ball is just gonna go down. So when I finish, my paddle face is gonna be facing right towards my target.